Of all the humanitarian crises of recent years, few can match Somalia for its complexity, its security challenges, or the sheer scale of its human misery. Late last year, the worst drought in memory decimated a population already weakened and displaced by 2 decades of civil war. Back then, Al Jazeera found entire communities had crowded onto trucks or marched on foot looking for food, this time in the border town of Dobli. 500,000 others crowded into Mogadishu, the city so crammed with people that it was almost impossible to walk between their shelters. For the UN's chief humanitarian coordinator, the inability of the aid system to meet the need was, and remains, a shameful failure.
The conditions of displaced populations in Somalia are the worst in the world, far worse than Darfur and other places. We're really looking at people living in dreadful conditions which we, as an international community, have not done enough to tackle.
After 4 years, Mark Bowden is leaving his post, but he admits the job is far from finished. Although he says the world did eventually help Somalia, the crisis remains miserable. More than 2 million people still depend on food aid, and donor support is slowing just at a time when the first legitimate government in decades is trying to get established. The last thing it needs is people hungry and angry.
I think that humanitarian assistance needs to be independent of political action, but not to give humanitarian assistance when there is political change is also a problem.
So Mark Bowden and others are calling for more aid, not less, because if Somalia is allowed to go through another crisis, the humanitarian cost will be huge, but so too will the political cost. Peter Grester, Al Jazeera, Nairobi.